The general had already won the battle before a single soldier moved. Not because he was stronger, not because he had more men, but because somewhere, long before the dust and steel and screaming began, he had mastered the one enemy that ruins almost every life, himself. That should bother you, because most people are not defeated by rivals, bad luck, or even circumstance. They are defeated by distraction, impulse, ego, and the slow collapse of discipline. Sun Tzu understood this more than 2,000 years ago, and his laws of power were never really just about war. They were about command, of chaos, of conflict, of the self. But first, let me tell you why this matters more today than ever. Ancient China was not a peaceful world of calm temples and wise sayings floating in the air. It was brutal, fragmented, competitive. Kingdoms rose and collapsed. Alliances dissolved overnight. One bad decision could erase a family line, a city, a dynasty. And in that world emerged a strategist whose name became almost mythic, Sun Tzu. We know him through The Art of War*, a text so compressed, so sharp, that every line feels like it was carved with a blade. But the mistake people make is assuming he wrote a manual for military commanders and left it there. He didn't. He wrote a philosophy of disciplined power, because war, for Sun Tzu, was never only about armies. War was every moment where desire fights reason, every moment where panic fights clarity, every moment where your lower impulses try to overthrow your higher aim. That is why his ancient wisdom sounds unnervingly modern. In a world of endless stimulation, algorithmic distraction, and emotional overreaction, discipline is no longer just a virtue. It is a survival tool, maybe the survival tool, and this is where Sun Tzu quietly intersects with Stoic philosophy. The Stoics asked, "What is in your control?" Sun Tzu asked, "What gives you an advantage?" The answer in both cases begins in the same place: self-control. You cannot govern outcomes. You cannot command the world. You cannot force people to respect you, love you, or understand you. But you can train your habits. You can sharpen perception. You can refuse to hand your mind over to appetite and noise. And what he wrote next changed everything. Because buried inside this war manual are 7 laws of power that apply just as much to your career, your relationships, your mind, and your daily self-improvement as they ever did to a battlefield. Let's begin with the first law: power starts with inner order. Sun Tzu wrote, "He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight." At first glance, that sounds tactical. Pick your battles, conserve your resources. Fine, but the deeper reading is psychological. Most people lose because they are fighting at the wrong time, on the wrong terrain, for the wrong reasons. They burn energy proving points that don't matter. They react to every insult, every message, every provocation, every emotional spike as if urgency were wisdom. It isn't. Discipline means not moving just because something moved inside you. That is a radically different standard. It means anger is not a command, fear is not a command, desire is not a command. And here's where most people get it wrong. They think discipline is intensity. It's not. Discipline is selectivity. It is deciding what deserves your force and what deserves your silence. This is why modern stoicism resonates so deeply right now. The disciplined person does not become cold. They become deliberate. They don't suppress emotion because emotion is bad. They refuse to let emotion hijack command. Think about your own life. How much energy have you wasted fighting phantom wars? Trying to win arguments with people committed to misunderstanding you, trying to explain yourself to those who profit from your confusion, trying to force outcomes that were never yours to control. That wasted energy has a cost. It drains the one resource every powerful person protects: attention. In the economy of the mind, attention is ammunition. So the first law of power is this: do not fight every battle your ego offers you. Fight only the battles your purpose demands. That one distinction can change a life. But there's something even more shocking. Sun Tzu's next law suggests that raw effort, what most people worship, is often a sign you are already losing. Sun Tzu wrote, "The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting." This is one of the most misunderstood lines in philosophy and strategy. People hear it and think it means avoidance, weakness, passivity. It means the opposite. It means the highest form of power is so disciplined, so intelligent, so well-positioned that conflict becomes unnecessary. In modern life, this means you don't win by constantly proving yourself. You win by building such clarity, competence, and self-control that nonsense cannot bait you and chaos cannot easily penetrate you. Here's the controversial part. Many people who call themselves honest are simply undisciplined. They confuse impulsive expression with courage. They say, "I just speak my mind," as if every thought deserves daylight. It doesn't. That will drive some people crazy, but it's true. Unfiltered expression is not authenticity. Often, it's just poor command. Real power is measured by what you could say, what you could do, and what you choose not to. This is where Stoic philosophy and Sun Tzu become almost inseparable. Marcus Aurelius trained himself not to be dragged around by appetite and irritation. Sun Tzu trained leaders not to be dragged around by enemy provocation. Different arenas, same principle. If someone else can easily trigger you, they can control you. So what does this look like in practical terms? It means building habits that remove unnecessary conflict before it begins. You sleep on time so fatigue doesn't turn small stress into emotional war. You train your body so discomfort doesn't own you. You keep your word to yourself in small matters because broken promises to yourself become weakness in larger ones. You stop negotiating with every impulse. You create rules, not because rules are glamorous, but because habits are predecisions. And predecisions conserve power. Ask yourself this: how much of your stress comes from reality, and how much comes from the fact that your inner world has no chain of command? This is where it gets interesting, because discipline is not only defensive, it is creative. Once your mind stops leaking energy into trivial conflict, it becomes available for strategy, craft, patience, and long-range vision. And that leads to the next law of power. The person who knows themselves clearly becomes very difficult to defeat. Sun Tzu wrote, "If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles." Most people focus on the first half: know the enemy, analyze the market, study the competition, understand the manipulation. Fine. But the second half is where lives are won or lost. Know yourself. Know your patterns, know your excuses, know the moments when loneliness makes you self-sabotage, know the environments where your self-control collapses, know the praise that inflates your ego and the criticism that scrambles your judgment. If you do not know these things, you are leading an army whose officers are secretly working for the other side. This is why self-improvement without self-observation usually turns into theater. People adopt routines they cannot sustain, identities they have not earned, and philosophies they use as decoration. They post discipline, they do not practice it. And here is another uncomfortable truth: motivation is overrated. Discipline is superior because motivation depends on mood, and mood is one of the least reliable forces in human life. Ancient wisdom understood this long before psychology gave it charts and terminology. You do not build a meaningful life by waiting to feel ready. You build it by making your habits less negotiable than your feelings. Sun Tzu adds another line that sharpens the point: victorious warriors win first and then go to war, while defeated warriors go to war first and then seek to win. That is not just strategy, that is a law of personal power. The disciplined person prepares in private. They train before the crisis. They rehearse before the spotlight. They save money before the emergency. They build character before temptation. They do not improvise morality when pressure arrives. Do you see the pattern now? The battlefield appears long before the event. You don't suddenly become calm during chaos. You reveal whether you practiced calm before chaos. You don't suddenly become focused when opportunity appears. You reveal whether your habits built focus beforehand. This is the emotional center of Sun Tzu's philosophy. Power is not domination of others. It is preparation so complete that panic has less and less room to live inside you. And one more law emerges from all of this: terrain matters. Not just external terrain, internal terrain. Your room is terrain. Your phone is terrain. Your friendships are terrain. Your schedule is terrain. If your environment constantly humiliates your intentions, then your intentions are too weakly defended. So ask yourself, are you trying to win a disciplined life in an environment designed for surrender? The revelation is simple, but not easy. Sun Tzu's laws of power are really laws of disciplined alignment. Choose your battles, refuse unnecessary conflict, know yourself deeply, prepare before pressure, build terrain that serves your aims, and above all, command yourself before trying to command anything else. Because the person with self-control cannot be easily baited, cannot be easily scattered, cannot be easily ruled by appetite, fear, or public opinion. That is not just strategy. That is freedom. Remember the general who had already won before the battle began? That is not ancient myth. That is a model. Most people spend years trying to change outcomes while refusing to change the inner conditions that create those outcomes. They want confidence without discipline, peace without self-control, success without habits, respect without restraint. But life does not work that way. If you want modern stoicism in practice, start here. For the next 7 days, pick one battle not to fight, one impulse not to obey, one habit to execute at the same time every day, whether you feel like it or not. Keep it small enough to be undeniable, large enough to matter. Maybe it's waking up without touching your phone for the first 30 minutes. Maybe it's a daily walk. Maybe it's 10 minutes of silence. Maybe it's going to bed on time. The specific habit matters less than the deeper act, proving to yourself that command has returned. And then watch what happens. Not in your external world first, in your posture, your mind, your pace, your relationship to difficulty. That is where power begins, quietly, almost invisibly. Then all at once. Try this for 7 days. Come back and tell me what changed. Because most people will spend their entire lives avoiding this truth. The hardest person to rule is the one who has learned to rule himself. Win the war within.